Here.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Here.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Here.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Jeff Pishney from Love Stanislaus County. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let me pray. God, thank you for the city of Modesto, for the city that we live in and that we love. And God, I know that you love the city more than we do. And thank you for your desire to see our city be the best it can be and using us to be a part of it. And God, I thank you for my leaders I stand before right now. I pray blessings on each of them, their families, their employment, and their leadership here within our city. And God, I pray that tonight that you would give each of them wisdom beyond themselves. And as they navigate the different issues and discuss the different topics and decisions that need to be made, God, I pray that you would help each of them to make the best and wisest decision. And God, I pray for civility among this meeting here tonight as well. And God, I thank you again that we get to be in this city. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. All right. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor, just public comment is limited to 3 minutes. There are blue speaker cards at the entrance of the chambers.
All right, thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? Seeing none. Will the city attorney please report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. For the existing litigation item under closed session, Seaver et al. Versus City of Modesto et al., there is reportable action. The parties have agreed to settle the case for a global settlement in the amount of $7,500,000. This will end the litigation in the consolidated civil lawsuits. The council unanimously voted to move forward with this settlement.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is acknowledgements and presentations. First item is proclamation declaring April 9th through 15th as Emergency Dispatch Appreciation Week. And I will read the proclamation. Emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And the safety of our law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from residents who call the Stanislaus Regional 911 Center. And 911 first responders are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And 911 first responders are the single vital link for our law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And 911 first responders of the Stanislaus Regional 911 Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, I, Sue Zwollen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim April 9th through April 15th as Emergency Dispatch Appreciation Week in the City of Modesto, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and residents safe. Accepting is Dispatcher of the Year, Angelica Valenzuela, Emergency Dispatcher 2, SR 911, and Casey Young, our Director, SR 911. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, and council members. If I can, I just want to again introduce our dispatcher of the year, Angelica Valenzuela. Her peers have voted her dispatcher of the year for her excellent service, hard work, and dedication. She has over 22 years of service at the Stanislaus Regional 911 Center. And some comments from her peers that I'd just like to read off to you are, she comes in to help and we seek her counsel. She's optimistic and a team player. She is an amazing dispatcher. The officers and firefighters are safe as can be with her on the radio. And she's always looking for ways to help and is more than deserving of being recognized as Dispatcher of the Year. So I just want to say again, congrats and thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you.
Congratulations. Yes, thank you for being here this evening, and I'll now bring the proclamation down and present it.
I can kneel, it's on the shortest.
Item 2 is proclamation declaring April as National Volunteer Month. I will read the proclamation. Over the past few years, we have seen that our community's spirit and commitment to service is alive and well. Several residents donate hours of their time each year. This commitment to serving others represents the best of who we are as a city. During National Volunteer Month, we recognize the contributions that our city's volunteers make every day and encourage all residents to discover their path to making a difference. And our commitment to service reflects our understanding that we can best meet our challenges when we join together, and the opportunities to volunteer are seemingly limitless. When we step forward to serve, it renews our sense of community. By helping others, volunteers also help themselves. They develop new skills, forge a deeper connection with their communities and service organizations, and experience the joy of serving a larger cause. Service can provide a pathway to employment, education, and other career-building opportunities. And Love Modesto is an organization that is dedicated to bringing community members together in an effort to give back. Volunteers participate in community-wide volunteer days where people engage in a variety of projects, including donating blood, visiting convalescent homes, building homes with Habitat for Humanity, working in city parks and schools, and more. Volunteers of all ages and walks of life have stepped forward to contribute towards bettering their community. And the government cannot do the job alone. But government, working together with nonprofits, community organizations, and the private sector can make our community stronger, more prosperous, and ready for the future. During National Volunteer Month, we celebrate those who volunteer and encourage more to follow their path. No matter your age, background, or where you come from, you can have an impact through service. Now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as National Volunteer Month in the City of Modesto and encourage our residents to join others in our community to volunteer and serve. So tonight, accepting this proclamation is Jeff Pishney, CEO and founder of Love Modesto. Welcome, Jeff.
Well, it's National Volunteer Month. We're acknowledging that tonight. And a year ago, we acknowledged the last Saturday in April will always be Love Modesto Day going forward. And so I'm so excited about this year, April 29th. This is going to be our 15th year of Love Modesto. How many were around 15 years ago, Love Modesto? A few of us, yes. But we have over 75 projects. All ages are welcome. All abilities are welcome. We're expecting, again, thousands of people to come out in our city just to love on our city. So lovemodesto.com is where you go to sign up. I'm also proud that in our county, in our area, including southern San Joaquin County, we have 15 cities that will be loving their city on that last Saturday in April as well. So this whole area is going to get a lot of love this month here. What's pretty amazing is on April 29th in Modesto, we have over 20 cities that are coming out here to observe what we're doing. Washington, D.C., City of North Carolina, and Colorado Springs, and cities that are all over that want to take what we established here back to their city. And so I am just proud to show my city off. I love it. I do it every year, and I'm just so proud to show my city off and to share with them how they can love their city as well. We wrote a book that gets released a week from today on Amazon and all the different sites. I gave you all a copy of the book. It just tells the story and how you can start, people that you know in cities around the country, around the world can start it as well. The last month we just onboarded Love Hanoi. And so this thing is going global, and it's pretty amazing how Modesto is inspiring cities everywhere. So thank you for your support and your encouragement, and together, let's love our city together.
Right. Thank you again for being here this evening, and I'll bring the proclamation down.
And if
to
I may,
present.
Mayor, Jeff, I just want to say thank you for everything you do. We want to love on you because your excitement and the love you have for the city is just beautiful, and it's heartfelt, and as a result, our Modesto is more beautiful, and it's just a great place to live, in large part for the work you and your entire team do. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Right. Next is item 3, proclamation declaring April as Fair Housing Month. I will read the proclamation. The principle of fair housing is a basic need and entitlement of all people and is protected by federal and state law. And in 1968, the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968 was enacted, which states that discrimination in the rental and sale of housing is illegal when based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, and disability. And the California Fair Employment and Housing Act additionally protects residents by prohibiting housing discrimination on the basis of marital status, age, gender identity, sexual orientation, immigration or veteran status, source of income, and all other forms of discrimination. And the City of Modesto supports fair housing efforts to eliminate discrimination in housing and recognizes the benefits of Project Sentinel to educate home seekers, apartment managers, and apartment owners on federal and state housing laws, and to investigate complaints of illegal housing discrimination in Modesto. And in order to increase public awareness, the City of Modesto wishes to declare April as Fair Housing Month. Now therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Fair Housing Month in the City of Modesto and encourage all residents and community organizations to celebrate the value of inclusive and diverse communities and to support the goal of equal housing opportunities for all people. Accepting the proclamation this evening will be Anna Andrade, Community Outreach Coordinator, Project Sentinel Fair Housing. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for proclaiming April as Fair Housing Month and for continuing to affirmatively further fair housing in the City of Modesto. And of course, thank you for your continued support of our services. On a separate and independent note, I want to go ahead and encourage the council to lift the ban on cruising and to allow for this safe and cultural event to continue to grow in our community. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here this evening, and I'll now bring the proclamation down and present it.
Thank you.
You guys are killing me.
Right. Next on the agenda is legislation, appointments, and other. Item 4, consider appointing Cecil Russell to the City of Modesto Planning Commission with the term expiration of January 1st, 2027. Does council have any questions of staff? Okay. Seeing none, I'll open up to the public. I see one hand raised. Steve? Okay, go back up to the top. Okay. All right. I do not see that hand raised any longer. So are there any other members of the public that would like to speak on item 4? I do not see anyone in person. Is there anyone online? Brittany Chavez?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Brittany Chavez. I am the wife of Paul David Chavez Jr., also known as CJ.
Brittany, I just wanted to remind you, this is for item 4. We're going to have public comment.
This isn't public comment?
No, this is regarding item 4. Public comment's coming up.
All right, gotcha. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Any other members of the public that would like to speak on item 4? Do we have any other hands raised? Not at this time. All right, I'll close public comments. Are there any comments from council members? Seeing none, I need a motion for resolution appointing Cecil Russell to the City of Modesto Planning Commission with the term expiration of January 1st, 2027.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Wright, second from Councilmember Escutia-Brayton. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton,
Aye.
and Mayor Wallen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 5, consider appointing Jose Vasquez as the Planning Commission representative to the Citizens Housing and Community Development Committee for 2023 with the term expiration of December 31st, 2023. Does council have any questions of staff?
I do, Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
For the public's awareness, why is this only an 8-month term?
All right, we have Jessica Hill who will respond.
Good evening, Council. Jessica Hill, Interim Director of Community and Economic Development. Jose Vasquez was the prior appointee to the Citizens Housing and Community Development Committee, so has served all of 2022 and up to this point today. The reappointment was made in late January, and there was a delay bringing this to council, but it has not led to a vacancy on the committee as we've had the previous person still able to attend, or Jose still able to continue his term up to this point.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members regarding item 5? Seeing none, are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 5? I do not see anyone in person. I have no blue cards for this item. Anyone online? No one online at this time, so I will close public comments and ask council for any further comments if they have them. All right, I have a resolution appointing Jose Vasquez as the 2023 Planning Commission representative to the Citizens Housing and Community Development Committee with the term expiration of December 31st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Escutia-Brayton. Second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton,
Aye.
and Mayor Wallen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 6, consider approving the reappointment of John Bergman to the Board of Building Appeals with the term expiration of January 1st, 2027. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll open this up to the public. Are there any members of the public who would like to come forward regarding item 6? Is there anyone online? I do not see any hands raised and have confirmation of that. All right, I will close public comments and ask council for further comments. Seeing none, we have a resolution approving the reappointment of John Bergman to the Board of Building Appeals to a second 4-year term with the term expiration of January 1st, 2027. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Wright.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Escutia-Brayton. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton,
Aye.
and Mayor Wallen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Item 7, consider approving the reappointments of Shane Cooper and Jim McKay to the Modesto City County Airport Advisory Committee for an additional 4-year term. Are there any questions from council members regarding item 7? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public. Any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 7? I do not see anyone in person, and I'll confirm for any hands raised online. There are no hands raised. I'll close public comments and ask council for comments. I'll make one brief comment in that I really appreciate these people, all of them, for their service to our community. This is just a small group of people, but we have many, many committees like this of people that give of their time voluntarily to serve our community. It's really inspiring, and I appreciate your service. All right, I have a resolution approving the reappointments of Jim McKay and Shane Cooper to the Modesto City County Airport Advisory Committee for an additional 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Wright, second by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton,
Aye.
and Mayor Zwellen.
Aye, carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is public comment period. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. I currently have 3 cards, 3 blue cards in person. First one is Ron Cherrier. Right, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
And city council members. I didn't really want to be here this evening, but I'm here. And so what am here, somebody left their phone here.
Oh, goodness.
So what I'm here this evening for is, I live at the corner of Stoddard and Terminal Avenue, and the City of Modesto has a project for realigning the intersection there. It comes in at a weird angle, and so the whole project is to make it safer to slow down traffic right at the Virginia corridor, and I fully support the project. On March 16th, I hand-delivered a letter to Jessica Hill, under which her department is heading the project. But anyway, in that letter, I stated that the project site was unsafe and hazardous. There was lack of signage and everything. Well, that was on a Thursday afternoon, and then on Monday, there were 5 people from the city staff, and I think also the contractor that was out there addressing the issue. And the problem being is that there's a site visibility problem as you come over going westbound on Stoddard Avenue, and you approach, there's an MID bridge there, so there's an elevation change there. And so going westbound toward College Avenue, there's a site visibility problem. And there was nothing to indicate that. There were some stick delineators that were out there. Anyway, as a result of that meeting, the city put up electronic boards to indicate slower speed, and also that the roadway was narrowed. The problem being right now is that, and I've pointed this out to some staff, is that there's a sign there, but the problem being is that people are still not slowing down, and there's stick delineators and the orange cones and stuff that are not being kept in place. I think that the encroachment inspector is not looking out for what's going on there on a daily basis because people are moving the delineators. I suggested that staff put in stick delineators just temporarily to let people know that there is a change in the center line. There's an S-curve that has been put in. And there's been, today, there was a guy out there with PG&E, they were paving, and he mentioned that he was out there flagging, and he saw 3 near-miss accidents today. I witnessed one today. And so what I'm concerned about is this, twofold. 2 things. The encroachment inspector, you need to have better signs out there to slow down the traffic so and to alert people of that change in the road alignment. And then the other thing is that in talking to the engineer, they're proposing a tree that's going to be planted in a raised concrete planter at that intersection, which, as far as I'm concerned, what it'll do is block the lighting of that intersection. Also, it may create a problem for visibility there. So okay. I suggest that that be done. But I urge the city to make this a priority so that the contractor gets this project done, so that it's safe, so that the paved speed bumps go in to make it safer. Because the whole idea is to get it safe. And anyway, the city's been put on notice, so please help to do something to make it safer.
All right, thank you for your
Okay?
comments,
All right,
appreciate
sure.
that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Online, I have Steve.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I apologize for my false start earlier. To be totally honest, I was a little concerned about your guys' tendency to start public comments at different times. And sometimes it really does seem like you're just trying to fast pitch us. And, just catch people, like get a couple of comments out of the way so that you don't have to listen to us complain to you. So I apologize for putting my thumb up or raising my hand when I wasn't supposed to. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the disrespect that Nick Pavaro showed for Paul Chavez's widow. Paul Chavez was murdered by your police department. Mr. Pavaro, your excuse you gave a couple meetings ago, you said to check a certain timestamp on the video on YouTube. I checked it out. And the time you gave is a couple full minutes after the incident took place. And I never once said that the video would have picked it up. What I said was that I saw you very, very clearly with my own eyes from a reasonable distance mouth the word stupid while Ms. Chavez was giving her remarks. And the reason I was paying such close attention to you was because I had noticed just before that you were staring at me in an extremely odd fashion. You almost looked like, like you wanted to meet me on the playground after school to beat me up or something. Cool, thanks for the disruption. You were staring me down, which drew my attention to you. So I was watching you closely when you mouthed the word stupid in response to Brittany's comments. So whatever other kind of story you're trying to weave, nice try. The thing is I likely am the only witness to it, and I know how you guys feel about me, so why not just pretend like I'm a jackass and just ignore it? You had to go and tell some goofy story. I know what I saw. And you know what else I saw when I went back to watch the video? I saw all of your guys' body language and your very general derision. So aside from the fact that you mouthed the word stupid, you guys shift around in your chairs, you make faces, you shake your head, you do it constantly. We know how you feel about us. And you know what? The thing is, your police have murdered. Your police have done an awful lot of disgusting things, and we're just people that don't like that. We're in the right. We have the moral high ground. You guys are playing a game. You do the same thing over and over again. You don't want to hear about it. You want to live in your little dream world. You'd rather talk about, I love Modesto, than to have to clean up the law enforcement in your town. It's disgusting. You guys give away $7 million all the time. You got two different bills you're paying recently for designers to design changes in traffic, and they're both around the same amount. So we know you don't give a damn about throwing our money around. But I know what I saw, and the whole point, the reason I'm making a big deal about it is that I want you guys to start showing, I don't want you guys to I want you guys to start showing some respect. Because when people come to you and they say, we don't want our police to murder anymore, that's not a laughing matter, and we're not stupid. And lastly, April is Fair Housing Month. When you announced that initially, Sue, I got excited. I'm like, heck yeah, dude. And then you started talking about it. All you did was read off a description of pre-existing law. You're not making any commitment at all to fair housing. Rent is out of control. People are suffering. People are working their butts off and can't even afford a home without more than one job or several roommates, or basically without multiple incomes. And for someone who's single and works full time, they're looking at living in a little pigsty, a little dump or whatever, in a crappy neighborhood that is far away from their work or whatever, right? I shouldn't say crappy neighborhood. There's really no such thing as crappy neighborhoods because people live in neighborhoods. But I digress. The point is, we want fair housing, and you guys need to talk about rent control. I don't care how much of a naughty word you think that is. You will never get anywhere in making fair housing in a more general sense available to the members of your community if you don't talk about keeping like housing affordable for people that aren't rich. Okay? And I'm not stupid, and I don't deserve the disrespect. The murder victim of your police department's wife is not stupid, and she deserves your respect. So in addition to not mouthing insults, I would appreciate if you would also pay close attention and really take to heart what people are saying to you.
All right. Next in person, we have Frank Johnson and Kayla Inthebong. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Good evening, Madam.
Okay, maybe we can, hold on just a minute, Frank. Let's see if we can.
I got a big mouth.
But it's really helpful if you can speak into the microphone so that everyone can hear.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, City Attorney, Secretaries. Go ahead, Kayla.
Hello, City Council. I'm requesting your support to celebrate Cambodian New Year on April 15, 2023 at Grimes, at 1528 Grimes Avenue, Modesto, California, 95358. This traditional holiday is an important event for Cambodian people around the world, and also, you know, us here in Modesto. We would like to honor and share this special occasion with the Modesto community, to the members and also to the public. The Cambodian New Year, also known as Jol Chnam Tmei, meaning Happy New Year, a time to celebrate an end harvest season and to look forward to a new year of good health, happiness, prosperity. It is a time for family to come together to honor their ancestors, offering prayer, enjoy traditional food, music, and dance. We believe that the celebration of Cambodian New Year in Modesto will help promote cultural diversity and understand. We hope that you will support our effort to make this event a success. We plan to have traditional Cambodian music, dance performance, as well as food and drinks vendors and other cultural activities. We kindly request that you consider our proposal and provide any necessary support or assistance to organize the event. We would also appreciate any guidance or advice you may have to ensure that the celebration is safe and enjoyable for all attendees. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward of hearing from you soon and celebrate the Cambodian New Year in Modesto community. Thank you.
Right, thank you. The best way would be if maybe Allison can give a card, and if you email that to us, and then we'll have that placed on our calendars and be aware of all the details.
Okay, thank you.
Also,
oops.
boy, this is a day. We'd also like a proclamation, if at all possible, for this event. How many years has this been going on? And I've only seen maybe one or two council members, Jeremiah Williams and a couple others throughout the history that have shown up to this event. And it's a very large event, so I'm asking for a proclamation. And thank you.
You're welcome.
One real quick thing. I know that wearing the Navy hat means that I've had some experience. Riding on the S, Dollar Ride, is like getting on a destroyer escort that's about ready to capsize. Some attention needs to be given to the drivers. It's out of control. If you're sitting in a wheelchair in the back of one of those mini buses, you're behind the wheels. So you absorb everything back there, and we're flip-flopping around back there like fish. And when we tell the drivers to slow down, they're way over in the speed lane on the freeway going over 70 miles an hour. They're putting us off in the middle of the street. Just stop and put us off because they missed our turn or our property. So it's out of control. And it needs to be looked into.
All right,
Please
Frank,
look into
I'm going to mention that the buses are now part of STAN RTA, which is a different organization than the city. There again, maybe Allison, if you can give him the email and the information for STAN RTA. We don't have.
I have met with them over and over and over, and enough is enough. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. Next online is Brittany Chavez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Brittany Chavez. I'm calling in regards to my husband, Paul David Chavez.
Sorry, Brittany, we cannot.
He was murdered by Samuel Muncie, wrongfully. You can't hear me?
Now we can. We could not, just very briefly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm driving. I apologize. I'm calling in regards to my husband, Paul David Chavez Jr., also known as CJ, who was wrongfully killed, shot in broad daylight, not giving the chance or the opportunity to whatever that was, honestly. We had Sam who came out in broad daylight, and within 26 seconds, instead of him trying to decompress the situation, he elevated the situation very quickly. Sorry. And we also have Valencia, who tased my husband for no reason. And for some reason, there's no accountability. And I don't understand why. We've been talking about this. I get it. It's worrisome. Understood. Get rid of the problem. You'll make me go away. But even if you did get rid of Sam Muncie, and you did do something about Valencia, it doesn't matter because you still have no desire to reform your police department, your chief, your officers, and everybody else who's in that department, let alone you guys and everybody you guys are associated with, because you guys all bump elbows and you all have coffee, eat drinks together, and nobody wants to do anything about anything. I'm wondering what it's going to take, because you guys are going to sit there and say, oh, we have this forward together crap. That doesn't fix anything, especially when you can't hire a private auditor that's worth $120,000, $140,000, but you go and get a $750,000 plane, $300,000 in maintenance. You'll go and restore bathrooms and crap that nobody even looks at or sees, but you can't even go down to Westside Modesto and fix the potholes, the community, the freaking Boys and Girls Club, the school districts, the teachers, the fine. You don't, none of it. This is a bigger issue with all of Modesto, and you're all held accountable. I'm urging you guys to do what's right, because that's all you guys can do is speak up. But nobody there on that council has once apologized, said something, done anything. Do your job. Get up, do something, say something, be a part of the community, be us for once, for a change. Because that's all we're asking for is a change. If you can never be a change, then you are part of the problem. You are the problem. The problem will never go away. But at least be upfront about it. That's it.
All right, next in person, I have Nathan Sanchez. Welcome.
Good evening, council, mayor. I just want to go ahead and open up and give a thanks of appreciation to Councilmember Williams, Vice Mayor Ricky, Councilman Alvarez, and Councilwoman Escrita Bratton. You wonder why I'm saying thank you to you guys specifically. Show of appreciation for last Friday for joining us at the Cesar Chavez tribute. Me being from a family of migrant workers, to those of us that were there, we took that to heart for you guys just showing up. Taking time out of your day and joining us and passing out those certificates and recognizing other individuals that have made a positive impact here in the city of Modesto. But not only that, but also to recognize the younger generation and awarding them with the art that they did. We live in a time where we begin to forget our history, we begin to forget our roots, and it's very easy to do that. But that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have this event, was for people not to forget, for the younger generation to remember who Cesar Chavez was for the migrant workers and for a lot of our family members as well. But not only that, but also a part of this event, there was a lot of classic cars. They were there from K Street all the way to I Street lined up. Councilman Williams, he probably had the newest Corvette there, although it was kind of old, but he was still there. Thank you for that. But what it was is we were there to send a message. These past events that we've had, when we got together and we were invited at the junior college with nearly 200 vehicles, classic cars there, because they asked us to be there, to motivate, to show, and to share the love that we have for the classic cars. And that's one of the things that we've been pushing here lately. Many people have been at this microphone, and you guys have heard it time and time again. Repeal the no cruising ordinance. We've had people from 3 people up to dozens of people. People that were behind this mic accordingly, and people in reality that were unaware of the proper way to conduct themselves behind the microphone. But what it is we're pushing, and we are requesting for this to be put on the agenda. Tonight, down south, in National City, there's a host of individuals doing the same thing in their city as well. So let's please get this on the agenda quickly, and thank you once again.
Thank you. All right. Are there any other public comments? Anyone wishing to speak?
Loretta Guard, yes, here comes old Miss Slow. Well, number one, I didn't hear anyone at all tonight say one thing. Happy Easter next weekend. And I did not realize it was next weekend. I thought it was the week after. What I'd like to tell about tonight is because of our city buses. You spoke a moment ago, possibly we can't, about our buses. But there's something we definitely need to be done. On our buses, there's some people who apparently have not ridden the buses very often, and some of them who don't care about riding the buses. But these kids that are in school are getting it all free, and I'm very proud of that. But I see lots of people that get on the buses put their shoes on those seats, and that is the lousiest thing in the world that people can do, because plenty of people have stated they won't ride the buses because they're not clean. Those buses are cleaned all the time. But then, whenever we do go down to catch the buses, there is to be no smoking at all by anyone, not even drivers. in our bus line. I was told now that they fixed that fence up, they can go up on the other side of the fence, not on the inside of the fence, and smoke. That's definitely what the new people have told me down there. If it's not true, and if they're allowed to smoke on this side of the fences, then I wish people would tell the truth about it. Because smoking on the buses or even in that area is not allowed. Drinking on the buses is not allowed, any whatsoever. And this is being done. Then the other day I saw some kids, and I didn't know kids had passes, but they were passing them around. One would get off the bus, run over to someone else, hand it to another person, and hand it to them. That also is not good. But we definitely need our buses because lots of people do not drive. But last, I'd like to state one thing, and I don't know if I'll get kicked for saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway. A police officer has the right to tell anyone at all to stop. And when an officer states something to you, you're supposed to wait. And when we call in over that phone, like that lady did a moment ago, and starts talking, yes, I'm one of these nuts. I start getting nervous on it. But it is not right, and if they don't have the guts to talk directly to people, then come down here and speak that kind of language from now on, not over that speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Next online, I see Emerson Drake.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. I'll admit before I start that I missed the first 6 items on the agenda tonight. I started with the 7th, but from what I've seen, it looks to me like the new Modesto is the same as the old Modesto. Now, we've asked several different times that we stop just rubber stamping, reapproving people for these additional terms. It'd be nice to see fresh blood come. And you know, they managed to go out and well, let's just say they recruit the members they need, additional new ones. But these old ones just get recycled over and over and over. And then the new Modesto, and you put what is the epitome of insider trading, if you will, the good old boy, the let's do things behind closed doors. You like to call it transparency, but when you talk about putting Cecil Russell in as a City of Modesto Planning Commission, or on the commission, I have to tell you, it's the same old, same old. There is no change. And that's just sad. And you need to make the effort to bring new blood in. But you don't do that. You just keep on keeping on. And I got to tell you, it just makes people sad. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, next online, Teresa Clutter. Teresa, are you there? All right. Did her hand go down? All right, maybe she'll try again. Next, Ramon Rodriguez.
Good evening, council members. Here again, and very surprised that there's no change in Modesto whatsoever. Yesterday, I was driving around the airport neighborhood and still seeing a lot of homeless encampments on the streets. And I drove there, seeing what's there any change. But near the industrial park, I'm not sure which street, there's like a whole line of tents that resembles that of Skid City. And I've asked numerous times that we need to do something for the homeless because a lot of people, business owners, residents, visitors coming in downtown Modesto and elsewhere, they're not going to come back until we got to do something humanely to the homeless people. And also the homeless people need to find a safe space because they can't afford to sleep on the streets or having a tent without being disturbed by other people. And that's like one thing. We used to have like a camp near Deer Park years ago, and it was a success. Now we need to replicate that program again, having shower security and services, connecting the homeless to various services. And I want to see that again, as well as affordable housing and transitional housing for the homeless. And as for the numerous public comments periods I've been in various meetings, everyone else in the city and the dais just are not interested when people are demanding change, especially demanding transparency, accountability, and demanding reforms and changes. Yeah, I remember that one lady who very much, I call her the Marjorie Taylor Greene of Modesto, who's always spewing Christian nationalist agenda and spewing for racist and bigoted and homophobic stuff. And you guys are all hypnotically listening to her and her far-right ilk, demanding they want to split California to form a new state of California or whatever. And that's not cool. You guys gotta step up the plate, do something, listen to the people, not miscreants who want to divide the whole town over with culture war nonsense, and do something because people are fed up. And if you guys don't do it, it's going to be really bad and it's going to be too late. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, I see Teresa Clutter.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened earlier. My phone's being a little funky. Okay, so I'm Teresa Clutter, the mother-in-law of Paul Chavez. So I am calling in for a few things, but first and foremost about Paul Chavez, who was killed by Sam Muncie and tased by Sergio Valencia. We're still seeking justice and accountability for him and the situation, and I will continue to basically preach on his behalf, being his only living mother per se. So there's that. Secondly, I wanted to just address the lady that came in and was speaking about my daughter speaking. To her, with all due respect, you do not know the situation. So to comment on something you're unaware of is just plain ignorance. So you might want to do some due diligence there before you make comments like that. Thirdly, I want to know what happened to the little old lady that used to come in there at every council meeting asking about, I can't remember, I think there was some kind of plumbing issue or water damage or something on her house. And she was there for months. And then just one day she didn't come in anymore. So I'm curious of what happened to her. Did you guys take care of the problem? Has she been taken care of? Or did she just give up and stop coming in? There was another issue, the housing issue as well. I am in agreement with Steve, who was speaking on this, because the rent in Modesto and, well, in the Valley in general is extremely expensive. If you are making minimum wage and, even if you're full-time, you're probably only grossing like $2,000, maybe $2,200 a month, and that's pretty much your rent. So for your person who is just, starting out, or maybe they've lost a really big job and now this is all they can get, they're not able to pay rent. They're not able to go secure a place, even an apartment, because you would have to live literally in the ghetto and in a one bedroom with a slumlord in order to, make it, and you're probably still just barely getting by. So there does need to be some kind of something happening with the rent. There has to be some kind of I forget what you call it, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. So getting that under control is important, because for your community, unless you want a bunch of scum bags everywhere because that's all that they could afford, then that's what's going to happen, because you're winging them all out. You can't have and expect people who are barely making it. Then you got 5 families living in one house, tearing the house apart because that's the only way they could survive. But I'll finish with justiceforpaulchavez.com forever. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, is there anyone else wishing to come forward to speak under public comment? And this is for items not on the agenda.
Yes, Mayor, my name is Loretta, and yes, I was the one that lady was just speaking of. So I will also state something else I've never stated before in this whole city. What that lady
Loretta,
stated a moment ago.
Loretta, you've had your 3 minutes.
Yes, but she mentioned something about the killing. Then let me tell you guys on the radio and on the City of Modesto that my dad was custodian at Modesto High School and at Downey High. He was shot and killed one day back in 1968. The lady that shot him, I have no proof she did it, but $1 million bet. She still lives right here in this city because she was our babysitter. Dad was killed. He was shot in the head. My son and I walked into that room. We saw Dad laying there. His hand is back up here at his head. The gun is at the end of the bed. On police report, it had that Dad committed suicide. He did not. The next day, I got sick with this crazy illness I got at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And yes, I still have it, but I was learning Morse code and teletype. And yes, officers know of that crazy stuff. And by gollies, when someone is killed, some of us that go in on it do get ill in some manner. But I black out mentally, not physically, and to this day, still nobody believes it. But this woman that thinks she knows everything, wait until you walk in when there's been a killing, and then that killer still is right in this town.
All right, are there any other members of the public that would like to speak regarding items not on the agenda? All right, welcome.
Mayor, City Council, Jerry Thompson, represent the cruising culture of Modesto. Just want to bring you all up to date. National City is working on lifting their ban in their city tonight. I don't know the results as of yet, but they are looking at doing a vote. AB 436 has gone through appropriations, and it passed unanimously 5-0. So it's moving along pretty quickly through the assembly. We in this community would like to see Modesto be part of that and be one of those leaders that lifts the ban on cruising. It's a cultural thing, it's a lifestyle, but it's also a history. And it's a very strong, solid history that unifies and builds diversity culturally in this city. So I hope that someday soon that it's put on the agenda. We understand that things need to be done to make things safe for everybody, because we're supportive of that. But we're also don't want to be forgotten about and think that we're going away, because we're not. We'll still be here on a nightly basis when you guys have your council, just to kind of keep you all reminded that we're here, we're not forgotten about, and we represent a good portion of the city of Modesto, multiculturally, spiritually, but also historically. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I will go back to Brittany, and I want to state that each person's allowed to speak for 3 minutes, and we really need to stick to those guidelines. I see your hand raised, Brittany, and then that will end that discussion. So go ahead.
Loretta, this message is for you. You have no idea what we're speaking on. I encourage you that you go ahead and you look to see what we are talking about, because I understand your pain and your grievance, because I am going through that same pain and that grievance. I am the wife of Paul David Chavez Jr. I watched my husband get murdered in front of me by 2 police officers who are not held accountable. And I could not go to him. I cannot pray with him. I cannot go into the ambulance with him. I cannot hold him, love him, caress him. They wouldn't even tell me what hospital he was in. I had to go and look for him. So before you think that you know, you don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm here for you because I understand your pain and your grievance, and I would hope that you would understand mine and my family's. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other comments under public comment period, in person or online? Seeing none, we will move on to consent items. An item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? Confirming if there are any hands raised online. I do not see any. So will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Yes, Mayor. Item 8, consider approving the minutes from the March 14th, 2023 council meeting. Item 9, consider approving a design services agreement with WMH Corporation out of San Jose for the Sandiford Avenue at State Route 99 Interchange Improvement Project in the amount of $6,450,665 plus $645,066 for additional services if needed, for a total amount not to exceed $7,095,731, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement and amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 CIP project budget in the amount of $3,500,000. Item 10, consider accepting the monthly investment report for December 2022. Item 11, consider accepting an informational report for the February 2023 accounts payable payment register and void report. Item 12, consider accepting an informational report on the November and December 2022 grant applications and awards. Item 13, consider approving the purchase for one fleet edition of a thermoplastic pre-melter trailer in the amount not to exceed $94,925. Item 14, consider approving the purchase for one fleet replacement in the amount not to exceed $52,493 and approving the implementation of the electric vehicle pilot program for the Modesto Police Department. Item 15, consider approving a First Amendment to the purchasing agreement with VSS Emultech out of Modesto for slurry oil for a revised total amount of $5,252,760 over 5 years. Item 16, consider approving the First Amendment to an agreement with United Pavement Maintenance, Inc. for hot patch work to amend the estimated annual amount from $200,000 to a revised estimated annual amount of $3,906,500 and extend the term of the agreement from May 21, 2023 to May 21, 2024. Item 17, consider approving a purchase agreement with Life Assist, Inc. by utilizing the competitive bid process with National Purchasing Partners League of Oregon Cities for emergency medical supplies for a total amount not to exceed $500,000 over 5 years. Item 18, consider approving an MOU for fire apparatus fleet maintenance services between the City of Modesto, Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District, and the City of Turlock. Item 19, consider approving the purchase of Oracle Cloud Analytics subscription software to Mythix Inc. out of Virginia Beach, Virginia for a term of 3 years with an option for 2 additional years, which includes all software licensing and configuration for Oracle Analytics Cloud for an estimated amount not to exceed $510,137, and approving an agreement with J Global Inc. for professional services for a term of 2 years with 3 one-year extension options for an amount not to exceed $863,080. Item 20, consider approving a 5-year lease agreement with Suzanne McElroy for the Modesto Police Department Property and Evidence Facility located at 1124 F Street in Modesto for an annual estimated amount of $39,600 and a total amount not to exceed $200,000 over 5 years. Item 21, consider accepting the airport layout plan grant as complete and authorizing all necessary steps to file with the county clerk recorder. Item 22, consider accepting the Tank 5 and 12 recoat and repairs project as complete, authorizing all necessary steps to file with the county recorder, releasing securities and releasing payments totaling $1,692,500 to Cal Sierra Construction, Inc. out of Carmichael, California. Item number 23, consider accepting the Dry Creek Trail Maintenance and Orville Wright Elementary Traffic Flow and Safety Improvement Project as complete, authorizing all necessary steps to file with the county recorder, releasing securities and releasing payments totaling $878,469 to McFadden Construction, Inc. out of Stockton. Item 24, consider accepting the Paradise Road Pavement Rehabilitation Project as complete, authorizing all necessary steps to file with the county recorder, releasing securities and releasing payments, including $1,791,408 to Dirt Dynasty, Inc. of Valley Springs, California. Item 25, consider accepting the plans and specs for the Sutter Trunk Rehabilitation Phase 2 project and awarding a construction contract to A. Tykart and Sons, Inc., DBA Tykart Construction out of Roseville, an amount not to exceed $5,372,415, approving an agreement with West Yost Associates out of Sacramento for construction management services for a total amount not to exceed $660,000, and approving an agreement with Odell Engineering for engineering support during construction services for a total amount not to exceed $59,783. Item 26, consider increasing the Director of Utilities authority to issue change orders on the Transit Center improvements and Transit Center addition project from 8% to 10% of the original construction contract price of $5,233,576 with Simile Construction Services, Inc. out of Modesto for a total amount not to exceed $5,756,934. Item 27, consider approving the plans and specs for the rebid La Loma Phase 2C Straighten and Replace Water Mains Project, accepting the bid and awarding a construction contract to Mozingo Construction, Inc. of Oakdale, California for a total amount not to exceed $8,531,407 and approving an agreement with TRC Engineers, Inc. out of Tracy, California for construction management and inspection services for a total amount not to exceed $916,128. Item 28, consider approving an agreement with Larry Walker Associates for the monitoring and management of the City of Modesto stormwater program and regulatory compliance for a total amount not to exceed $1,100,000 over 5 years.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Councilmember Wright. May I have a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton,
Aye.
and Mayor Zwalin.
Aye. So the motion carries unanimously. I am going to have us take a 5-minute break. So we return at 6:48 p.m. All right, 1 minute, please.
Hi there.
All right, we are back at our meeting. Item 29 is a hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending section 27-3-9 of the zoning map to rezone property from low-density residential R1. Oh, excuse me, I stand corrected. Next on the agenda is council comments and reports. We have Council Member Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Modesto lost one of its finest. Modesto Fire Captain Doug McCullough, 52, passed away on Sunday, March 19th, 2023, following a courageous battle against cancer. He served the Modesto Fire Department for 11 years and began his fire service career in 1994 with Salida Fire Protection District. Captain McCullough is survived by his wife, Krista, and their 2 children, Brian and Mackenzie. Celebration of life for Captain McCullough is Tuesday, April 11th at the House Church here in Modesto. Mayor, I call for a moment of silence in Captain McCullough's honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any further council comments? Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to give a quick synopsis of my last couple of weeks. On March 25th, myself and Councilmember Escutia Brayton attended the first annual Latino Leadership Summit and Series. I want to thank Supervisor Condit for coordinating the event that brought together Latino leaders from the nonprofit, business, and government sectors to discuss issues impacting Latinos across Stanislaus County. On Sunday, March 26th, I and Councilmember Williams attended a Cambodian community meeting in District 2 at the King Kennedy Center. We met with former Cambodian Congresswoman Mu Soshua and the Cambodian community on the west side of Modesto. We spoke about identity, democracy, and human rights. This past Friday, I marched alongside community members, the United Farm Workers Union, Series Mayor Javier Lopez, and Senator Marie Alvarado Gil, who represents Senate District 4 in honor of life and legacy of Cesar Chavez. On April 2nd, I attended Stanislaus Stanislaus Chamber of Commerce's Government Relations Committee. We heard an update on Stanislaus 2030 from County CEO Jody Hayes. A few weeks back, I was glad to participate as a panelist at MJC's Latinx Comic Arts Festival to discuss the importance of literature that reflects the Latino experience. I want to thank all the organizers of that event, and a special shout out to Dr. Teresa Rojas for the invitation. Briefly, regarding housing, I was recently briefed by staff on the Parque Rio development in the Robertson Road area. This development will add 92 units of affordable housing to District 2, where Bellanita Park currently is. The 54-acre municipal golf course is another prospect for housing that we've been having dialogue, community engagement with the west side of Modesto. That 54-acre plot is a prime location for affordable housing and some sort of green open space. So that's currently under discussion, and more to come on that. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how appreciative I am of all the work being done by this council, led by the mayor and our staff I'm just really pleased with the results we're seeing on everything from housing to chat workers to rangers. It's just, I like the direction that the city's going, and I just wanted to call it out. I also, I hear about a lot of issues every day, like all of us here on the council, and I just wanted to talk about a few things that we're working on to hopefully see some city action in the near future. One is abandoned commercial buildings. We've talked about this from time to time, but I just want to touch on it again. We could go through them, whether they're the ones on Sisk Road, whether there's a few on Pellendale, there's some on McHenry, but these are like magnets for crime and things. We just need to do a better job managing these properties, and so I'm hopeful in the next few months we can get an abandoned commercial building ordinance through the council, and I'm going to keep pushing for that. I also just want to acknowledge people's complaints about the green cans. A lot of residents I'm hearing, I'm getting emails every single week about it. I'm sure the rest of you are too. Just that doing them weekly isn't working for people. And so I just want to acknowledge that we're hearing that, and I'm hopeful that in the next few months we can make adjustments there. And finally, I'm also just real interested in seeing improvements made to Griseda Park, especially in terms of the restrooms and the gazebo. We're talking with parks, we're talking with the city every week about it, and I'm hopeful that we can make improvements there. And that's what I have this week.
All right, Councilmember Escutia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to thank Councilmember Bavaro for being specific and calling out Captain McCullough's services. Thank you for doing that. That was beautiful. I have the honor of serving as the chairperson for the city's appointments committee. And this particular body has been so active lately in doing the work of the city. All of the appointments go through this committee, and the appointment recommendations that come out of that work of the committee are very important. But currently we are working on a handful that are just critical to the city right now. We are literally in day 2, in the middle of the interviews for the police review board. We received over 70 applications. They were vetted very thoughtfully, and out of those applications, for approximately 45 individuals were invited to come before the appointments committee for an interview. Again, we are in the middle of those interviews. They're going well, and it's amazing the interest in the investment that Modestans have to be part of a process, and that is indicated when they submit their application and are willing to step up and commit of their personal time to be the solution to the problems, to the challenges that Modesto faces. Again, we're in the middle of the police review board interview process. We are also embarking on the review for appointments to the oversight board for Measure H. We received over 24 public applications for this opportunity for the oversight board for Measure H. We will have those interviews, or the appointments committee will convene to review those applications, and again go through a very thorough and vetted process for that opportunity, and as well as the audit committee. We have sought applications for that for appointments to that committee. We received approximately 7, and we're going to be inviting those candidates or those applicants to the appointments committee for the conversation about who will ultimately be recommended to this council for appointments to those areas. There is opportunity for everyone in the city of Modesto wanting to get involved, wanting to be part of the solution, to step up and be part of the solution. We have appointments happening in the area of housing, in the area of youth, DEI, culture, recreation, airport, disability, golf, preservation. There are, if you are interested in something, we probably have a commission or a board or committee that you could be part of. So I encourage everyone that wants to be civically active and engaged with addressing issues that are important to Modesto to go to modestogov.com and express your desire by filling out an application for one of the opportunities that we have. Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
All right. I'll just give a brief report of some activities I've participated just in the last week. And I think it's interesting to note that these all have to do with schools. And while I am not on the school board anymore, I had the opportunity to participate in these activities because I was invited. And I feel like being in the schools is a real opportunity to hear from people that we don't hear as often from in these meetings, and that is our younger people. And that is the reason that we're doing all of this, is for the future. So it was really great to spend some time with them. One of them was at the Modesto Junior College. I was invited to participate in a Women in Leadership forum, which was really inspiring to hear from other women and how they are growing and developing and the challenges that we sometimes face and how we meet them. Next was at Downey High School for the Construction Education Showcase, where they demonstrated the students how to do bricklaying and make concrete slabs for buildings. And it's primarily in preparation of working on building tiny homes that maybe someday will be able to be used in our community for those that are unhoused. The next was at Stanislaus Union Elementary School, where Rosa Escudia Brayton and myself were there, and we were invited. It was a suicide prevention evening for parents. So it was very exciting to hear what they are doing to try to help young people in our community that are really struggling with mental illness and depression. Next, Career Day at Bret Hart Elementary. I was in 4 different classrooms. I'd been there many times before talking about my career as an emergency room nurse, but this time it was about my role as mayor. And I listened to the students, and it was very interesting. In at least 3 out of the 4 classrooms, when I asked them what is important to them in their neighborhood and their community, 3 out of the 4, the first thing they mentioned was having to walk in the streets because of the potholes in the rainy season, which is something that I've advocated for helping these students when I was on the school board, and it was interesting that they brought that to light. And one young man said his family and home were the most important thing to him. Next, I toured Connecting Waters Charter School. That was interesting. It's on Briggsmore, and I learned a lot about what they do in that community. And the next is a Latina Leadership Scholarship Reception at the Modesto Junior College. Wow. These students that receive these scholarships have aspirations that are mighty, and I invited them to all come back and work for the City of Modesto when they're done. So I just thought that was interesting that I was able to spend that much time with younger people and to hear from them, and I really enjoyed it and appreciated the invitations. Next, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. It's wonderful to hear all of the things that are going on in Modesto and all of my colleagues that are involved heavily in moving Modesto forward. I love the fact that it's never, ever going to be a competition, but it's always going to be collaboration and making a difference for our community. I was at, just a couple of weeks ago, the celebration, the 50-year celebration for the Chinese New Year, the Year of the Rabbit, that took place at Central Plaza. That was a nice event. They had about 500 people that showed up to that event. Also, the next weekend was BSU of California. All of the BSUs in the high schools, at least 20 high schools came together right here in Modesto. They selected this place. They select a place every year, and we were fortunate to have hosted them at the plaza, and there were about 20 different high schools, the BSUs, so that was great to be there and welcome them to Modesto. Love Modesto is coming up, as you already know. I have been a part of Love Modesto for several years now. We started Beautify McHenry, and Beautify McHenry is about 6 years old, and that will happen. If you do want to sign up, I would love to see you on my team, and that's lovemodesto.com, lovemodesto.com for the 29th of April. Cesar Chavez was a busy day on Friday. Started in, the county had a wonderful event over at Cornucopia Way at the Harvest Hall, then followed that to the Cesar Chavez Park, where the Parks and Rec had a Cesar Chavez event. Simultaneously, there was also, just shortly after that, the march, and I was happy to see that a few of our council members were there and participating and walking. And then, of course, it ended up at the plaza. And lo and behold, I'm sitting there and enjoying, and then I see my mother-in-law walking across the lot, and I'm like, that's my mother-in-law. I didn't know she was going to be there, but she was there, and spent some time with her and enjoyed her company. But Cesar Chavez, everyone who put that together, it was a wonderful, safe event, and I'm glad it happened. Lastly, yes, this weekend is Easter, and if you know there is a place to go, if you don't have a place to go, look it up and enjoy Easter. That concludes everything I have to say today, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, thank you. Any other comments from council members? I don't want to leave out Gregory High School Future Business Leaders of America. I met with them also on spring break, early in the morning online. I also recruited them in the future to come back and work for the city of Modesto. All right, seeing no one else to report, does the city manager have any comments and reports? All right, none at this time. So next on the agenda is hearings. Item 29, hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending section 27-3-9 of the zoning map to rezone property from low-density residential R1 to medium-high-density residential R3, located 1505 and 1513 Scenic Drive. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Jessica Hill, Interim Director of Community and Economic Development. So as the mayor stated, I'm bringing forward a rezone for two properties, one at 1505 and 1513 Scenic Avenue. That is in between Coffee Road and Oakdale on Scenic. So the rezone is triggered by an application we received from the property owners in November who were interested in rezoning their property. They believed the property were underutilized and they had 2 units on each property, and they thought this would be interesting to rezone to help with maximizing the space with the possibility of demoing the back unit and building more units on the property. So like I stated before, the application is to rezone 2 parcels from R1, which is low density residential, to R3, which is medium high residential. And the aggregate square footage is a little over 25,000 square feet, or a little over 0.58 acres. So here's the street condition, or the street views of both of the locations, 1505 on the left, 1513 on the right. And you can see it also is on the corner of Brighton Avenue off of Scenic as well. So in the staff analysis, all of the new development would adhere to the zoning codes and city standards. It conforms to the general plan land use designation of residential use. And then the rezone's also compatible with the adjacent uses of the other parcels surrounding the property. Based on the lot size and rezone, the property would be able to build a total of 4 to 8 units on each property. And it allows a more efficient use by future multifamily residential development and adds to additional housing opportunities for Modesto residents. If approved, the applicant would then have to submit site plans and go through the building permit process to adhere to all of those city standards. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Does council have any questions of staff?
Yes, Mayor.
All right, I see Councilmember Ricky's first. Was that left over? Okay. All right, we'll go to, that's all right, Councilmember Wright.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica, for that report. I'm just curious, all the properties around there are R3s. Why are these 2 properties R1s with everything else around it? You follow me?
I do. So I can't speak to that at this time. Councilmember Wright, I can actually get back to you on that. I do believe there are some rezones that have taken place on other properties surrounding, especially if you see that there's a planned development.
So I'm not complaining, I'm just curious that it wasn't R3 to begin with. That's my,
To my knowledge, it's been R1.
right. But everything around it's an R3.
There
So
is.
it's apples and oranges don't mix. So that's what I'm saying. That's all the questions I had.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Is part of that county pocket as well? Is that?
Let's see.
Because I see no sidewalks on that one section.
So this is all within the city, and
Okay.
then as they move forward to the building permit stage, they would have to ensure that they bring those curb gutter sidewalks up to city standards as well.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right, any other questions of staff from council members? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward to speak on this item, item 29? Seeing none, are there any hands raised on Zoom? All right, not at this time. I will close public comments. Any comments from council members?
Yes, Mayor.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just very supportive of this kind of action by the city when we can do it and it's appropriate. It's been mentioned tonight, but it's something that we all feel how many people are struggling with housing right now and just finding units to rent. It's just been really difficult. And so when we make moves like this, we're increasing supply and that'll help people find an easier way to find places to live, which is great. So thanks.
Did you have a comment?
Yes. Well,
Councilmember Wright.
My only comment, Jessica, you don't have to get back with me on that question of R3 or R1. I was just curious. Thank you.
All right, any other comments from council members? This will require two motions. So the first one is a motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance amending section 27-3-9 of the zoning map of the City of Modesto to rezone from low-density residential R1 to medium-high-density residential R3, properties located at 1505 and 1513 Scenic Drive. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Bavaro, seconded by Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Wallen.
Aye, so it carries 7-0. Next is a resolution finding that the following subsequent project is within the scope of the project covered by the Modesto Urban Area General Plan Master Environment Impact Report, SCH number 20140-42081, rezone from low-density residential R1 zone to medium-high-density residential R3 zone, properties located at 1505 and 1513 Scenic Drive. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Bavaro.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Wallen.
Aye, carries 7-0. Thank you very much. Next is item 30. Hearing to consider an ordinance amending section 10-4.102 of Title 10, Chapter 4, Development Standards, Article 1, Residential Zones, repealing section 10-4.115 and section 10-4.116 of Title 10, Chapter 4, Development Standards, Article 1, Residential Zones, adding Article 5 regarding accessory dwelling units to Title 10, Chapter 4, and repealing and replacing Chapter 8 of Title 10 regarding density bonus and affordable housing. Welcome again.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, Jessica Hill, Interim Director of Community and Economic Development. So I wanted to start with a little bit of background. So over the last 5 years, there's been significant legislation at the state level with an emphasis towards housing and streamlining the production of housing units. Over the several hundred housing bills past years, many require changes to our local municipal code. So as staff continues to look at legislation, the locally adopted housing plan, and other avenues to streamline housing production, we bring forward key municipal code updates. So the first one before you today is regarding accessory dwelling units. So state laws govern accessory dwelling units have been amended every year since 2016. Accessory dwelling units are considered infill housing and are intended to encourage the production of affordable housing. Most recently, Assembly Bill 2221 and Senate Bill 897 were the most recent updates for ADUs and were effective on January 1st, 2023. Some of the key changes associated with this legislation is all ADU applications must be reviewed ministerially and must be reviewed within 60 days or deemed approved. If there are denied, the staff has to work with the applicant to list the defective items and how they can bring them into compliance. Other things that they updated with the accessory dwelling units is the maximum heights. They've updated specific regulations to junior ADUs, and that's that they cannot exceed 500 square feet nor be sold separately. And then updated parking requirements, and this is due to areas which they have permitted off-site parking requirements. So the next one's density bonus. So the density bonus laws are a set of bonuses and incentives to encourage the development and inclusion of affordable housing in larger projects to make them economically feasible. Most recently, the state updated their density bonus laws in 2021, which were effective in 2022. So the updates are for developments that have a percentage that are designated to low and very low income households. They have an equivalent concession available for them for their affordable housing development. Part of the caveat of that is they have to have an affordability covenant on the property to ensure it's available for those low income households for 55 years. Some of the concessions include the density, so they can put a higher density on the parcel. They can have decreased setbacks as well as a decreased parking ratios associated with the property. So this municipal code update is to align with the municipal code with the state regulations. So this is, a requirement that it's bringing our local code in compliance with state regulations. There's a lot of updates we're making to our municipal code tonight, so I kind of wanted to give you an overview of those changes. So in regards to Title 10, Chapter 4, Article 1, we included all ADU language within a broader article. And so what we're doing today is we're recommending to kind of remove that and put it all in a separate article due to the continuous updates which are needed in regards to accessory dwelling units. For Title 10, Chapter 8, Affordable Housing, this was last updated in 1991 with just a very brief update in 2006. And so our recommendation today is to ensure that the significant changes are updated with state regulations. So we recommended the repeal and then replace of this legislation. And with that, the staff recommendation is before you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 55-year affordability term, if a property owner builds an ADU and then 10 years later sells it, is there anything on the deed that the new buyer knows that there's some restrictions on how much you can rent the unit for?
So that's a great question, but the 55-year affordability covenant is associated with a density bonus of parcels specifically for affordable housing. And so in the case where these parcels are then sold, the new owner would become aware that this can only be utilized for a certain income level, and then they would have to agree to that covenant moving forward in the future as well.
And and the income level is the rent is based on the income level? Help me here.
Yeah, so what's considered low income is under 80% of the area median income. And then at that point, to be considered affordable, a person can only charge 30% of their gross income. And so, yes, there would be rent restrictions on those properties that did receive a density bonus in a
For 55 years?
For 55 years.
And after that, it would?
And then after that, it would go away, yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes, Jessica, how many houses are in play now for the affordable housing? If you don't have the exact number, that's fine, but hypothetically, or guess how many are being
So
worked on?
for specifically the density bonus ordinance, we do have one parcel which is looking to utilize that. For accessory dwelling units, we have had an extreme increase over the last 5 years. I would say over the last 2 years, we've had over 150 that have been built within the city of Modesto.
I think that's important information for the community. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. The 80% area median income, is that Modesto only, or is it Stanislaus County, or is it a region? How is that calculated?
So the area median income is set by the federal government, or HUD, Housing and Urban Development, each year. So they designate it for Modesto specifically.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Wright.
Yeah, follow-up question to that. So if a landowner decides to do this, what benefits do they get from the city to make it affordable? You follow me? Is there changes in the building codes that they don't have to put sprinklers in, or what? How can they build this to be affordable that they can rent it at a lower?
Right. So this is specifically for the density bonus portion. And so if they decide to utilize the density bonus portion of the code, they would have the 55-year affordability covenant, and what we're seeing is they're building a higher level of units than traditionally zoned on the property. So, and they're putting in reduced parking, and so the parking, instead of 1.5 parking spaces per unit, they've gone down to 1.1 at certain times. So those are some of the concessions I've seen. All development would still have to adhere to all of the California building codes, and so would not exempt any of those other fire sprinklers or building things that you mentioned.
I think this is a great program. Don't get me wrong, but cost of at anywhere from $225 to $300 square foot. I don't know how a landowner can make it pencil out. That would be my concern. Having getting loans and having to pay back loans, and then rents being lower than the rents that he's collecting being lower than what the mortgage is on the property. So that's why I'm just curious to see how this pencils out for someone that's looking at doing it. So that was my concern.
And as this is state regulations of the changes that are moving forward, and so this is just ensuring our local municipal codes up to date with what the state's requiring. You're welcome.
All right, any further questions from council members? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward to speak under this item, item 30? Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Ulises Belmonte. I'm a local investor, and I would just like to know where I could get more information on the auxiliary units.
Well, there you go. At your service. There you go. All right. Are there any other members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 30? Seeing no one in person, is there anyone online? No hands are raised online, so I will close public comments and ask council for comments. Any comments from council members? On item 30.
Move to approve.
All right, seeing none, I have a motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance amending section 10-4.102 of Title 10, Chapter 4, Article 1, repealing section 10-4.115 and section 10-4.116 of Title 10, Chapter 4, Article 1, adding Article 5 regarding accessory dwelling units to Title 10, Chapter 4, and repealing and replacing Chapter 8 of Title 10 regarding density bonus and affordable housing. I had a motion from Councilmember Williams, I believe. No.
Ricky.
Somebody this way.
No.
All right, this way.
Guilty.
Vice Mayor
Second.
Ricky.
Second.
And a second from Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Carries 7-0. Thank you very much. Next is item 31, hearing to consider final adoption of ordinance 3760-C.S, repealing and replacing Chapter 1 of Title 3 of the Modesto Municipal Code, amending the city's fire code to adopt the 2022 California Fire Code. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Derek Jesper, Deputy Chief with Modesto Fire Department. I oversee the Community Risk Reduction Division. With me tonight is Deputy Fire Marshal Shannon Sandoval. As you consider adopting the ordinance to repeal or replace the current California Fire Code with the current version, we're here tonight to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 31? I do not see anyone in person. Is there anyone online in Zoom? There are no hands raised, so I will close the public comments. Ask council for comments. All right, seeing none, I have a motion adopting ordinance 3760-C.S, repealing and replacing Chapter 1 of Title 3 of the Modesto Municipal Code, amending the city's fire code to adopt the 2022 California Fire Code. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Carries 7-0 unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Next is item 32, a hearing to consider approving the application of Heavenly Transport LLC and authorizing the issuance of a permit to operate as a non-emergency medical transport company in the city of Modesto. We will have a staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, Council. Captain Robert Reyna, Modesto Police Department, and I'm here for a hearing for the non-emergency transport application for Heavenly Transport LLC. Currently, there are 7 permitted companies that operate within the city of Modesto. Heavenly Transport has met all requirements per the Muni Code, as well as paying all taxes and fees, submitting all the necessary documentation, and has went through a very thorough background check for the through the Modesto Police Department. Allison, can you? Thank you. It is important to note that back in February of 2022, the city received a complaint that Heavenly was operating without both a business license and a non-emergency transport permit. At that time, the city personnel could not get a hold of the owner, Mr. Singh, until August of 2022. At that point, he said that he was not aware of the requirements. He was based out of the San Joaquin County, and but the very next day he came down, paid all fees, taxes that were associated with the business license. Within a couple weeks, he went down to the came down to the Modesto Police Department and started his application process for his non-emergency transport permit. At that time, he was told that he could not operate in the city without a permit approved by the council. Within a couple weeks of that meeting, we received additional complaints that he was continuing to operate in the city of Modesto without a permit. We contacted the 3 facilities that we believed were using him. They confirmed that he was operating in the city of Modesto without a permit. And we asked them why, and they said the main reason was because he was one of the few companies, if not the only, that would transport COVID-positive patients to their dialysis appointments. We then contacted Mr. Singh, and he confirmed that he was operating within the city of Modesto without a permit, and he stated the same. He said that he felt obligated to continue to provide these services because he knew that some of these patients had little to no options available to them. We told Mr. Singh that if he continued to operate outside the scope of the Muni Code, this could affect his application process. He said he would comply, and we forwarded all our findings to the city attorney's office. Since October of 2022, we have monitored Heavenly Transport's activities, as well as interviewing the facilities that we had contacted before, and there's no evidence that he has operated outside the scope of the Muni Code, and this is since October 2022 till now, roughly 5 months. This is a photo of one of the vehicles that he would like to use. They are clearly marked on both sides, and they comply with the municipal code. So our recommendation is, after taking all the facts into consideration, that he be approved for an application for a non-emergency transport permit. And I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right, thank you for your report. Does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. When you say that he's in compliance with all his permits, does that include his meal tax?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
Do these permits authorize these transporters to transport only within the city limits or within Stanislaus County?
If they want to transport in Modesto, they need both a business license and a non-emergency permit. Every city is different, so for some cities, they would have to get their permit through that city.
No further questions. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other questions from council members?
One follow-up.
Oh, all right. Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. In doing your background check, were there any, besides complaints, any other activities that that you saw that would maybe prevent him from getting a permit?
No, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and seeing no other questions from council members, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward to speak regarding item 32?
Mayor, I wish to ask, is this the same as Dollaride?
No, this is not.
This is totally different than Dollaride. Now, with this being, can we find out the pricing on those and actually what it is for? How do we go about doing that? Non-emergency ones. Would this be cabs, or what would it be? Or how would we contact them?
This is a company, so you would need to contact them directly.
There's only one company on this then, right? Okay.
Yes. All right, online I have Jenny.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a phone call and I didn't want the thing ring. This is something I just kind of thought about. What if a taxi cab driver took a patient to dialysis? They're not required to have a permit. What makes it, I presume that if you were a dialysis patient, you could call a taxi cab and pay for it yourself and go to your dialysis. what makes it that they have to have this? I'm just curious, I probably realize myself and answer the question myself, why they need a permit to take is it because they apply for the refund through the insurance? Or can somebody just call them and get transportation?
All right, Officer Reno.
Some of these patients, and it's not just for dialysis, but some of these patients are bedridden or they need extra assistance, so sometimes they can't fit into a cab, and that's when companies like Mr. Singh, such companies will accommodate them.
All right, thank you.
But you don't have to be bedridden for them to take you, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next online, I see M.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Next online, I see M.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I just want to know, is Mr. Singh present?
Yes, he is.
Okay, can you get him on the speaker, please? I have a few questions for him.
No, we're not going to have a conversation.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
What was that?
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, no, I'm asking you, he cannot get on the speaker for our questions?
Hold on one moment.
Okay, yeah, let's see him on there, because I have some questions for him.
She has a delay
No,
because she's watching
we're not
on
going to
another
have a
medium other than
conversation.
Zoom.
She's
Well, I
wa-
have a comment, I have questions for him. What was that? Okay, no, I'm asking you, he cannot get on the speaker?
Apparently you have another,
Okay, yeah, let's see him on there, because I have
apparently you have another device on, and so we're not able to even understand.
What's the comment for him?
Apparently you have another.
She's watching Zoom or.
You apparently have
YouTube.
another device on, and so we're not able to even understand.
It's on YouTube.
Okay, let me turn off, because I have it on the laptop and on the phone. Can you hear me now?
Apparently you have another.
She's watching Zoom or.
Apparently has another device on, and so we're not able to understand.
It's on YouTube.
Okay, let me turn off, because I have it on the laptop and on the phone. I only have a Zoom on now.
All right, let's try this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, we can hear you.
Okay, sounds good. So can you please get Mr. Singh on the speaker right here? I have two questions for him.
This is public comment time where you address the council. We do not go back and forth with other members of the public.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that public is aware that Mr. Singh told the police that he was only picking up patients, not only dropping off patients, not picking up. So clearly he lied to the police, Modesto police, and the captain Reina can tell you that is the correct information. So I want public to be aware of this, and also I want anybody that used Heavenly is also to ask for if all his drivers are background checks for last 4 years, and all his vehicles, as he presented in this picture, that they are labeled, they are actually labeled.
All right, do you have any further comments to the council?
No, but I do have a question for Heavenly Transport owner.
All right, what is your question?
Yeah, if you can get him on so if he can answer, did he in last 4 years, he did background checks on all his employees?
As I mentioned, we're not going to go back and forth with a member of the public, so just address the council at this time.
Okay, but can we see Mr. Singh on the, because I'm not able to see his face on the, can we get his face on this so I know he's present in the meeting?
I'm not going to request that. Do you have any further comments?
No, I will discuss this on one-on-one with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none at this time, I will close public or is there any other hands raised online? I will close public comments and ask council for comments. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Captain, my question, the non-emergency transport, that is paid by the insurance company, am I correct? Or do you know?
Not always, sir.
Okay.
Sometimes it's paid by the individual.
Okay.
So it just depends.
And the reason why I say that, I think sometimes the insurance companies require a certain type of transportation that has to be a non-emergency ambulance to transport more so than a taxi or if they're paying for it. So that's the reason.
I believe so, yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments from council members? Councilmember Alvarez.
Just have a quick comment and somewhat of a question. But I kind of gleaned the answer to my question from your PowerPoint here. But has Mr. Singh, in good faith, since PD has had contact with him, in good faith, been on the path to getting legally permitted to operate?
Yes, sir.
Seeing that he has been in good faith, I'll be in support of this permit for him. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Bavaro.
Yes, Mayor, I'm just curious, is this really a procedure that we go through when somebody applies for a license and that they come before the city council?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from council members? All right, I'll just make one brief comment that this service is really appreciated and greatly needed in our community, and it's typically the decision is made by the physician, depending upon the level of care that the person needs for transport. So that's something that is really important in our community for patients to have this availability. So at this time, I have a resolution approving the application of Heavenly Transport LLC and authorizing the issuance of a permit to operate as a non-emergency medical transport company in the city of Modesto. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Alvarez, second by Councilmember Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwellen.
Aye. So the motion carries unanimously. Are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I am calling this meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.